Hello, welcome. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us to our at the music department specific webinar for California State Summer School for the Arts, also known as CSSSA. We're joined here by incredible, amazing, wonderful music department chair Valerie Stern. We're also joined by wonderful, incredible, amazing, knowledgeable CISA admin, Stacy and Ellie. We are all here to answer your questions. My name is Jessica Hemingway. I'm the CISA Foundation Program Manager, and we're just going to get rolling. Let's get right into it. We're here to talk about the music program, but I'm going to give a couple of introductory CISA slides just in case we have some folks joining us who don't really know what this whole CISA thing is about. So we're California State Summer School for the Arts, also known as CISA. We're a month-long summer residential art program for high school students in the state of California. We're a state-run program, and we've been around for almost 40 years. Our community is composed of over 400 students, and we have about 150 faculty and staff that support the students during the summer session. So the ratio of student to teacher is about 3 students to 1 teacher, a lot of individualized attention and one-on-one time with your instructor. We pull from across the state as it is part of our mission to represent each of the 58 California counties. In addition, we have a small number of students who come from out of state and even international regions, but we keep that pool small to about 20 students because we want the bulk of our population to be California State students because, of course, we are a California State program. So as I mentioned, we're a residential program. We're located on the Cal Poly Pomona campus. And while you're on campus, you have access to all of the amenities that Cal Poly Pomona has to offer, state-of-the-art technology, labs, shops, rehearsal spaces, performance spaces. You're going to live in the dorms. You'll have your meals in the main cafeteria. We provide recreational activities and field trips for students to engage in, even department-specific field trips, which you'll hear a little bit more about once Valerie starts talking about the music program. Let's talk about quickly how to apply. It's an online application. The application has 4 main parts to it. First part is contact information. There's a $20 application fee, but waivers are granted for students who request one at the end. The second part are references, not recommendation letters, just the contact information of a teacher, an artist, a mentor, someone you perhaps would ask for a recommendation letter, and you're just going to supply us with their contact information in case we have questions about your application, though we won't contact everybody. The third part are transcripts. You can upload an unofficial copy to the online app. We are only certifying your grade level, not your grades, when we review these transcripts. And then the fourth part are the arts assignments, which of course we will go into detail about the music art assignment for the application. And then the application deadline's coming up February 28th, 2026 at 6 p.m. You want to make sure you have all your required documents and assignments completed by that final hour. The CISA team will review your application during the month of March, and notifications will go out mid to late April, maybe even early May. We have a lot of financial aid to hand out, so make sure you're applying for financial aid as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and turn it over to Valerie. And she can talk to you about the music program. Valerie, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. It's nice to see all of you here. Actually, it looks like we have maybe a couple people from our bridge program last year. So I'm really, really hoping to see you again next summer. CISA is a really, really, really incredible opportunity for high school students. Not only do you get to really immerse yourself in your arts and learn like a ton, you're going to meet the most amazing people. You get college credit, and you will come out of the program a changed person, I hope, changed for the better. So I'm here to answer any of your questions you might have about the music application process and kind of walk you through what it's like to be a CISA student. Where would you like me to start with that? Do you want me to go? I have the presentation right there. Do you want me to go over that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Um, so as a CISA student, you will have a pretty rigorous class schedule. Um, every single student admitted to the program will be taking a class in music theory, music appreciation, You will have private lessons with your instructor on your instrument or voice type. You will take a class in composition, and then we have world music offerings. And most likely, our world music offerings are going to be gamelan and African drumming. Okay, so gamelan is, if you've ever never seen, or if you don't know what a gamelan is, just Google it, look it up. I think there's some pictures on the CISA website also. It's a huge set of instruments from Indonesia and Bali, and it's gorgeous, and you learn so much about the culture and get to perform it, and it's just really amazing to be able to offer that. And then we also have ensembles. We have a jazz ensemble and an improvisation ensemble. We have vocal ensembles also. And you can also, like while you're at the program, you have time to create your own ensembles. If you want to play music with some of your friends that you meet, absolutely, you're encouraged to do that. And there may or may not be opportunities to perform, but most likely there will be. So you will apply to CISA with a concentration. Your concentration is going to be whatever instrument you specialize in. So you can apply to CISA as a pianist. You can apply to CISA as a guitarist, as a saxophonist, as a violinist, and so on. You can also apply to CISA as a vocalist. Music, pop music, classical, musical theater, whatever you might be interested in. And starting last year, we offered, yes, drummers, of course, yes. um, we started offering music production as a concentration. So if you, whatever your emphasis is, that's what you're going to be having your private lessons in. So you will come to CISA with one single emphasis, even though you'll be taking classes in all sorts of disciplines. Does that make sense? And we'll also have some guest artists, not sure who they will be quite yet, but in the past we've had like really incredible singer-songwriters, people who work in the music industry. We've had people who work in college admissions come and talk about the college application process, what colleges might be looking for, just giving different workshops that would be of interest to high school music students.
Amazing. Valerie, I'm going to ask you a question here that I often get on the recruiting trail about music theory. Do students have to know music theory in order to be in this program?
No, you do not have to know music theory. However, by the end of the program, you will know music theory, or at least some. So at the very beginning of the program, we do a music theory placement. And I don't like to call it a test because it's not a test. Some people have never studied music theory before. All. So basically what the music theory placement does is it tells us, the faculty, how much experience you have with that. And if you have zero experience in music theory, you're going to be placed in one class. If you have some experience, you're going to be placed. We have several different levels of music theory. So it doesn't mean you're better or worse than anybody else. It just means you've had more instruction in that particular discipline. Okay. So everybody will take a class in music theory, but you don't have to come in with knowledge already.
Great. Thanks so much, Valerie. All right, should we get into the application requirements? So assignment A, let us know.
All right, so you are going to be submitting a video for us. And on your video, you will be introducing yourself. And this is your opportunity to, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us what your instrument is, what your concentration is, maybe how long you've been studying, and tell us the titles and composers of your audition selections. So I'd like you to choose two things, two contrasting pieces for your instrument. So that means you could pick, like if you're a classical pianist, for example, you could pick a classical or Baroque style piece of music, and then you might contrast it with something more romantic or contemporary 20th century. If you are a flute player, you might audition with a slow lyrical piece as well as something that is fast and technical, just to show us the different things that you can do. If you're a drummer, you might play a jazz groove, and then you might play something else, maybe some kind of solo, something that shows us what you can do. Okay. Now we ask that the audition be limited to like 6 minutes. This is not a hard 6 minutes. If you go, it's not like you're going to be disqualified if you're 6.5 minutes. But if your selections are really, really long, I'd like to ask you to make sensible cuts so that you can fit it closer to the time limit, if that makes sense. Okay, because we tend to get a lot of applications and we usually can tell right away what your ability is. So just, make logical cuts in your music and you'll be fine. Okay. Now, if production applicant, so music production is most of you who audition for music production will be um, creating music with software, maybe making something. So I'd love for you to tell us your setup, like what program you use. Do you use Logic? Do you use whatever? Um, and then play your selections that you've created. Even though if you're playing music that you created on your computer or your system, those can be audio recordings, but I really would like to see you introduce yourself on video. Okay. And I think
Perfect.
I saw a couple questions come through on the chat, but can you tell me what those are, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do questions as we go, and we
Oh,
can repeat the questions after. Whatever you want to do, Valerie.
I don't know. I didn't see the questions. So, we can keep going and then we can address the questions later.
Okay,
But
wonderful.
yeah, if something comes up, those of you who are watching, if something comes up, just throw it in the chat. You don't have to um, wait in case you forget about it later. Okay?
Definitely. All right, we'll go to assignment B.
Okay. Accompanying your application, I would also like to see a written statement. And I actually really enjoy reading these. This is how we really get to know you as a person, as a musician, what you like, what you dislike, what can you offer to this program? And this is where you can really take the chance and to show us, tell us a story about yourself that has to do with your musical background, why you want to come to this program, and what you think you can contribute. It doesn't have to be a certain amount of words, but just tend to be 1 to 2 pages, double spaced, and just give me a thoughtful response to those questions and anything else that you might think is relevant about yourself so that we can get to know you as a creative person.
Right from the heart.
Ah,
All right, and then a note for all students.
when you do your audition, say you're auditioning as a vocalist, you are totally welcome to have a track with you. So you can sing to your track, or you can have a live accompanist if that's better for you. Totally fine, as long as we can hear you clearly. You are also welcome to apply for more than one instrument. If you do that, you're going to be submitting a complete application for each. So some of the information you'll be needing to input twice, but say you audition for violin and guitar, you will have two separate complete CSSSA applications. And you can only attend CSSSA in one of those. So you have to choose one of those concentrations. So you might get accepted in both. You will choose to attend one.
And Valerie, if I can ask this question again, I get this on the recruiting trail. If a student, like say they want to apply in both, they get into both, but they choose guitar to focus on, are they allowed to bring a violin? And if there's a violin teacher, they could maybe ask for a private lesson if they have time.
Yes, so we had that quite a bit last year. Um, my request, and I make this request like as a please, 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 if you do hope to take lessons in a second discipline and a second instrument, please make arrangements ahead of time. Just send me an email saying like, hey, I really wanted to attend CSSSA as a guitarist, but I also play the violin. Is there a violin teacher who can give me some lessons? We will try our very, very best to accommodate that. In general, the way that it goes is you get 1 hour-long private lesson per week. So it's a 4-week program. You'll get 4 weeks of lessons. And um, if you are hoping to get lessons on another instrument or something else in music, you probably won't get a full 4 lessons, but you might get 1 or 2, depending on what we can accommodate in our faculty schedules. But please, I urge you, if that's something you're interested in, please let me know ahead of time so that we can sort of plan for it when we're.
Great. Thanks so much. And then our last slide before we jump into the chat here, I'm not sure if there are any returning students, but you said there may be some bridge students on this call. So, and then I'm also not sure if this applies to bridge students, if they're also writing a statement. Maybe Ellie or Stacy, you can weigh in on that.
We
Well,
don't, yeah, sorry. For bridge students, we don't require them to write the returning student statement.
Okay.
okay. So, but if you are a bridge student and you're applying, like I will know that you're a bridge student because I know you, I remember you. And you could talk about your experience a little bit in your in your written statement. You can mention that I came as a bridge student and I wanted to come back or whatever. You can, but you don't have to submit a separate writing assignment.
Only for students who attended the 4-week program if they want to return again in the 4-week program. I'd like to hear a reason why. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it for the slides. I'm going to stop the share and we will jump into the chat here and get to these great questions. So the first question that I see here is, this is a great question. How can we combat potential burnout prior to or even during, a student's time at CSSSA? Do you have any tips for that, Valerie?
A really, really good question. And it's a very real problem. It's a very real thing that happens. Um, as I mentioned, it's a rigorous program. You will be busy. You may get tired. My suggestion for you would be listen to yourself, listen to your body, and discuss with your teachers. We also have mental health professionals on campus. If you feel like you need a break, you need to talk to somebody, just know that we have a lot of resources available to you. And I mean, this is an obvious thing, but get some sleep. Easier said than done when you're living in dorms with other high school students. Everybody wants to socialize and have a good time, but sleep is so, so, so crucial to your performance. And I don't know, Jess, do you have any other tips for that?
I mean, what you said basically is all encompassing. I would say, yeah, get some sleep before CSSSA. Take your time when you're there. You may want to do it all, try to do it all, but definitely pace yourself. It's a marathon, not a sprint, because you're going to be together for 4 weeks. So, do what you can, push yourself, but know your limits. Somebody has raised their hand. Sasha, do you want to unmute and ask your question? No? Maybe? We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you.
Well, just to add to what Jessica just said about, I always say this, you can do a lot. If you do everything, if you try to do everything that sounds interesting, you're going to burn out. So you'll notice that the first week of CSSSA, there's going to be a lot of things to try out. Last year we had a songwriting workshop. We have jazz ensemble, we have improv ensemble. There's an interdisciplinary class that comes and you can join that. There's a lot of extra things you join that are not part of the core curriculum. My recommendation would be to first time those things are offered, go check it out and kind of feel your way around and pick the one or two things that stand out to you as the most awesome. Um, it can be tricky to try to do everything. We try to make it work as faculty. Like we try to be, you know, if you have to be here, we try to let you split your time. But just know that you're not going to be able to do everything.
Well said. Irene, I see you have your hand raised. Do you want to unmute and ask?
Yeah, I put this in the chat, but I'm just super curious because I think a bunch of us have some questions about the audition piece of it. So, so I have a drummer and an avid drummer, but not a jazz drummer. So that might be a little tricky in terms of like trying to figure out two different types of pieces to play because he's pretty much like a rock drummer, classic rock and like sort of more contemporary rock. Um,
Great. That's
so,
great.
okay. But my question is for the video itself, are you I guess, are you wanting like videos that are like recorded for this specific purpose? Can it be clips from concerts that they've played in? Is it just the idea so that you can see how they play? Because I definitely have like clips from shows that he's done that I can like try to like somehow miraculously piece together in a video or have him do it rather. But I'm just curious, like, what's the context of the video? How do you want it organized?
That's a good question, and it might be especially a good question for drummers because you tend to not play alone, right? You play with a group. Um, in the past, we have had some issues with clips of performances where the audio wasn't that clear and it's hard to tell who's doing what. Um, I think a better method for the CISA audition in particular would be a solo drum with a track or a clear audio recording if you're playing with a group. Okay, so you can kind of be the judge of that. Yes, you can use past performance clips, but most students tend to record new things for the CISA audition.
Okay, and so you would want like two separate recordings that combined are 6 minutes, showcasing two different types of music, and you want it indicated what kind of like recording program was used for the video.
No, necessarily. Sorry, would you say what kind of recording what?
I was just asking if you wanted it indicated like what program they're using to record it with or how. No, okay.
No, I don't need that. The only thing I was asking about the program that you recorded on is if you were a music production applicant,
Oh, okay.
like specialized software and stuff for your own setup. But you could record it on a phone, and it's okay.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a professional level recording. It just has to be clear enough so that we can see the skill level and yeah. And in the case of a rock drummer, two kinds of rock grooves, different time signatures, possibly maybe a slow song and a fast song, something that contrasts in another way. It doesn't have to be two different, like, full-fledged styles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, I'll dive back into the chat here. We've got a question. So in the statement that or when someone states how long they've been studying their chosen instrument, or how long they've been studying, are you interested in how long they've been studying the instrument or the vocal performance track or just music in general?
If that's different, so say you've been studying music for 5 years, but you've been singing for 2 years, then just say that.
Great.
Yeah, just tell me what your specific story is. It's not like I'll just let you know we're not like on a panel being, oh hey, this person 5 years, this person 8 years. Like it's not like it's more just to get to know what your experience is. So just tell us what is relevant.
Great. And do students have to memorize their audition pieces?
No, you don't have to memorize. Good question.
Great.
Many
And
students do, but it's not a requirement.
great. They can have their sheet music in the frame if they need, and you're not going to take points off. Okay, great. And can someone's piece be from an orchestral arrangement? For example, the cello part from William Tell Overture.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. Great. And we have another question here. If we have issues uploading our audition, who do we contact? And Stacy put in the chat, you contact the email comments at cisa.ca.gov. With anything upload related, anything technical related, they are the people to contact because they'll help you with that. Okay, another question here. For digital music production, does someone turn in one of their projects for their application?
If I mean, if you're doing digital music production, what we're looking for is recordings, or something that you've created. So yes, you would turn in one of those as an audio file, or you can play it in the background of a video. Does that make sense? Is that answering your question? Yeah,
That's
show me a couple of different projects, two different projects.
great. Here's another great question. Will the nicheness of somebody's instrument affect their chances? Like if they play an instrument that is not as common?
Um, I'd like to say no. It won't affect your chances. Um, 2 summers ago, we had a marimba player. Last summer, we had a Chinese zither player. And whatever we get, if we accept you to the program, that's on us to find a professional in the field who will be your instructor. So we've had some pretty exotic instruments, and yeah, I think that's actually an awesome part about the CISA experience is like people get to be around instruments they might not have seen before.
Awesome. Ooh, we have another hand raised. Go ahead, unmute and ask.
Hi. I'm just wondering if like there's any crossover between like your selected discipline. So like would I be able to like take like separate theater class if I was in the music program for voice? Yeah, for voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's not a whole lot of crossover with classes. We have done collaborations with other departments. Like we did a collaboration with theater before, right?
Yeah.
Where we'll get the music kids and the theater kids. We did a collaboration last summer with the film department where we had a guest artist for both film and music. Um, but really, if you're coming for music, your schedule will be pretty packed with music related things, of things that you're required to be at. And it's tricky to be a part of something else. Now, I will say from the music perspective, we have our optional ensembles that meet in the evening, and we have had students from other departments join those ensembles. And we are completely welcome to that as long as it doesn't interfere with their own department's requirements. So certain classes, like certain optional ensembles that we have, are open to other disciplines. And I don't know what the other departments are like, if they have anything like that. But I know that the departments do have readings, like the writing department, and you're encouraged to go check out your friends in other departments and their performances or their faculty events. So we encourage it that way. But as far as classes, not so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sometimes with like visiting artists, sometimes there will be like a master class that is open to other people. Like if they have somebody, theater has somebody in musical theater, we could open it up to other students who, want to sign up if there are not enough actor signups. And it's the same in other departments. It just kind of it depends on if it fits within your schedule. And something else I will add is if definitely specifically for musical theater focused people, when they're trying to pick between both departments because the vocal performance track definitely has a musical theater emphasis and the theater track definitely has a musical theater elective. And I would say, in the theater side, you're going to be more focused on the acting, less on the, how, the mechanics of your voice. And Valerie, you can correct me if I'm wrong on the musical track. It's mostly about the voice. And, you may receive some acting feedback, but it's not going to be the concentration.
Exactly. So if you're a vocalist and you're a musical theater person, know that if you go to CSSSA in the music program, your focus is going to be, yes, on your instrument, your voice, and vocal health. Um, and you will be reading music, whereas not all theater students will be reading music necessarily, even if they take the musical theater elective.
Yeah. So something to think about.
Yeah.
You could always submit an audition for both,
I
Hedge your bets. Okay, diving back into the chat here. So is CISA looking for people who are more proficient in their discipline, or is it okay if they're only mildly proficient and want to get better through CISA?
I mean, I would say CISA is the best opportunity to get better at your instrument. We're not looking for the most technically, I don't know, superior players in all these instruments. I think what CISA really prides itself on is having the best community of creatives. So don't worry about, oh, how fast can I play? How many wrong notes did I hit? That kind of thing. Worry about like your expression and how you're putting yourself forward in your application. Just know that those are the kind of CISA students that really, really thrive, and you will get better at your instrument. Like that's what we're here for. We're here to, yeah, just make you the best you can be, and also make you aware of all the opportunities that are available for music. We have faculty working in like all facets of the music industry. So it's a really valuable networking opportunity for you guys too.
Awesome. We have another hand raise. You want to unmute and ask the question?
Hi, I am curious to know about like the daily schedule, if there are break times or like times to get outside and be physical, that sort of thing, and also what the weekends are like, and if they needed to leave on a weekend. And is there supervision, like in general, just kind of the day-to-day stuff, what it looks like in the dorm and that sort of thing.
So for the dorm life and that kind of supervision, I'll leave that to maybe Jessica. You can take it. But for music, day to day, the class schedule will be, we usually start classes Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And you'll have you'll have 3 classes in the morning. Composition, African drumming, Indonesian gamelan, all before lunch. So you have an hour class each, from 9 to 12. Break for lunch at 12. And the afternoons are either for practicing for studio classes when you're going to meet with other students of your instrument as a group and perform for each other, or free time, or your private lessons. Okay, so you'll be scheduling your private lessons on one of those days, but the other days there will be a few hours in the afternoon where you can choose to practice, or you can choose to get outside and have some fun time, take a nap. And then we have another class rotation, usually from 4 to 6, which is music history or music appreciation and music theory. And then dinner's at 6 o'clock. Now, there might be a few little tweaks to this, given that we're going to be on a new campus this year, but that's really the day-to-day schedule. So you've got required classes 9 to 12 in the morning, required classes 4 to 6, and then a few things scattered, practicing, studio classes, lessons. And then the evenings we have ensemble meetings. So that's when the jazz ensemble will meet 2 days a week. Improv ensemble will meet 2 nights a week, and so on. Weekends, we usually have in the music department, we don't have a full class day on Saturdays, although I think all departments have something on Saturdays. Usually we have a guest artist or an activity together as a department in the morning. on Saturday, and then you are welcome to leave. If you're local, you can leave after that.
Great, and I'll talk a little bit about student life. So in the dorms, students live with RAs or resident assistants that are on call for them. We also have a student affairs team that's kind of responsible for student safety, kind of knowing where they are when students have free time. We, of course, provide 24/7 safety and security on the ground. So, students aren't able to just leave on their own. With Cal Poly Pomona, I'm not sure that it's close enough to businesses that students can walk to. So there may be some kind of a shuttle that students can sign up for to take them to, supervised with somebody, take them to like a shopping center or something. But that would be worked out with the CSSSA office, and you'll be given lots of information about that. We also have a student handbook that you can read about, like, what the day-to-day schedule is and how much free time they have. And then, yeah, if a student wants to leave over the weekend, a parent or guardian would sign them out. And that would be worked out with the CSSSA administration. They can leave on Saturday afternoons and come back on Sunday evenings. All students have a curfew at night where they have to be in their dorms. Probably it's like 10 or 10:30. They have to be on their hall, and then by 11 they have to be in their room. And the RAs do dorm checks or room checks to make sure they're there. So students have a little bit of independence and freedom, but we're still a community made up of minors, so they don't have that much. We do know where they are, at all hours of the day. We need to be able to get in touch with them and know what they're doing and where they are. So there is some freedom, but we are also closely watching and knowing what's going on. So they're usually with their friends, or we provide a lot of recreational activities also for students to engage in when they're not working on their art too.
And I'll just add to that, for all classes, attendance is the first thing. So if your student is not in class, they let me know, and my job becomes nothing else except locate where your student is, where the student is. Okay, so we are responsible for these kids while they're with us. So if we will know when they're not in class, and we will find out what the issue is all the time.
Valerie, how many students do you typically accept in the music program?
Hmm. Uh, well, okay. I can't remember the numbers of what we actually accept. It really depends on the number of applications and how many spots there are in the program. But the music department tends to be between 50 and 60 students every summer. So obviously we'll accept more than that, but the ones who end up coming, it ends up being around that much.
And do you limit students by instruments? Like, is there like a certain number of pianists that you have, or people in the vocal performance track?
I wish I could say no. However, we do have to keep in mind all the faculty that we have and the loads. So if we have, say we have 50 guitarists apply one summer, we do not have room for 50 guitarists, even if they're all fantastic. So in that sense, yes, we do. We will need to limit it. So some instruments might be more competitive to get into than others.
Mm.
Last year, we actually had quite a few applicants in music production, and we ended up able to take 6. So yes, there's a certain degree of limitation depending on your instrument, and one might be more competitive than others just because of faculty loads. It's a good question.
Good to know. So if a student is applying for guitar, but they usually sing while they play, can they submit an audition tape of them playing and singing, or would you rather just hear them play?
Um, it's I think absolutely sing and play guitar. Just be aware of the fact that when you are at CSSSA, if you're there for guitar, you're going to be taking guitar lessons. So make sure that you're placing the guitar to the best of your ability. Many of our guitarists sing as well. Many of our singers also play guitar or play piano. So you can definitely audition doing 2 of those things, but make sure that we can hear your guitar clearly, make sure that you're showcasing everything that you can do on that instrument. Okay.
Great. And if students apply for music production, how long do their pieces have to be?
I mean, I'd say keep the 6 minute total as a guideline. If your pieces are less than that, if your pieces are 2 minutes each, that's totally fine. And even if they're 4 minutes each, that's totally fine too. Just, we like to give us the best 3 minutes of one, the best 3 minutes of another, or split it up another way as you choose. But we probably won't have time to listen to like a 10-minute composition or project from everybody. So just keep that in mind. Keep the time limit in mind. 6-ish minutes.
And Valerie, if students like rent their instrument from school, they don't own their instrument, is it possible that an instrument can be provided for them if they get into the program?
Yeah, we would just have to know that ahead of time. A couple of summers ago, we had a clarinet player who had been renting his instrument from his school, and we worked out a rental for him for his time at CSSSA. So yes, it's definitely possible, but you have to let us know ahead of time so that we can make arrangements to provide that for you.
Great.
And we're drummers though, because we do get this question also. It really depends on how many drummers we have and how many drum kits we have access to. I know for a fact I think we'll have access to two drum kits while we're there. But as it gets closer to the program, we might work out, okay, well, maybe you'll bring your kit and keep it in a room, and so that we have enough to share between the students. But that really depends on how many drummers we have, and this get to that later on. But if you're coming from far away and you don't have the means to bring an entire drum set, don't worry, you're going to be okay.
Great. Here's a great question in the chat. Is there a specific thing you look for in applicants?
I just love to see your personality. It's hard to get to know people on my laptop, but I'd love to, if you're a outgoing person, show me that you're an outgoing person. If you're a serious person, show me that you're serious. Like, I want to get to know you. And like I said earlier, like CSSSA is such a great community for creative people. So if you have creative ideas, if you have things that you're excited about, things that you want to explore, things that you've gotten excited about in the past, like tell me about that in your written statement, tell me about that in your video, and let me see that in your playing or your singing. Like I want to know what you like. Don't be bogged down by what you think you should be interested in or what you think people want to see. The strongest applications are the ones that stand out in a different way. Like you can really get to know somebody.
Great. And if your instrument that you're applying with usually does not have solo parts, is it okay to use a supporting part as your audition piece?
Yes.
Great. And for the written statement, is it 1 to 2 pages total or 1 to 2 pages per question?
1 to 2 pages total. You can combine those suggested questions in your statement.
Great. And this is kind of a new campus related question. CalArts had a lot of practice rooms. Will Cal Poly Pomona also have practice rooms that students can access?
Yes, I think there are about 14 practice rooms, and we'll figure out what the policies are leading up to the program. But yes, in general, at our past campus, we had the practice rooms open in the morning at like 8 a.m. and they would stay open until like 10 p.m. So students can practice when you have free time, as long as you're back before curfew.
Yes. And for the written statement, is it a formal essay that you want or just kind of numbered short responses?
I would say neither. Definitely not formal. Like, I don't need you to, it does not have to, it's not formal writing. It's much more personal. But you don't need to number the questions either. Just basically the questions that I give, or it's a prompt to guide your response. So answer those questions, but it doesn't have to be my answer to this question is this, my answer to that question is that. Like, just be yourself. Tell me about, just give the questions some thought and write. And if there's anything else you want to add, also like feel free to do that too. If there's something that you think might be interesting to us about your story or your experience in music, like please, I want to hear it. I want to see it. Okay.
Great. We have a question about this recording. Is it possible to get a link? So this is recording and we upload these webinars on our YouTube channel. It will probably be on the YouTube channel by tomorrow morning. And then CSSSA is great about sending in-process applicants reminder emails with all of the recordings in them. So you'll probably get a reminder email tomorrow if you have an in-process application with a link directly to this and whatever webinars we've done in the past. One more question I see here in the chat. It's in regards to what students need to bring besides a laptop and their instrument. Do you have any suggestions, Valerie, of things that students should bring? Music related, maybe.
Yeah, there's a list that will go out. I'm seeing if I can find it right now. Um, I don't want to look too hard for it, but if you get a welcome letter, you will have a list of things to consider bringing. For music, definitely bring something to write with. I believe you can take notes on a laptop, but some professors are going to be more strict about that and might prefer you to bring paper and pencil the old-fashioned way. So keep that in mind. I think we'll be providing music staff paper for the theory classes. Obviously your instrument and any maintenance for your instrument. So if you're a guitarist, you need to bring an extra set of strings or valve oil for your trumpet, all the maintenance for your instrument, you're kind of responsible for that. I don't think you need to bring music stands unless you plan to practice. Music, definitely bring music. Many students are using digital music now, and that's fine. You can bring an iPad or a tablet. As a general guideline for students who are attending the program, I like to tell students to bring, some things that they're really comfortable playing or singing, maybe something you've performed in the past, something that you're currently working on, currently struggling through, and something that you hope to master in the future. Mm. So to have music that you like that's in different stages of, perfection or performance level. Okay, so that we have a variety of things to work on. Of course, you'll probably be assigned music at the program too by your instructors or your ensemble teachers. So, yeah.
I always like to add flexibility and a good attitude is a great thing to bring.
Yeah, definitely. Love those. Yeah, have an open mind. You're going to be stretching yourself in ways that you didn't even know you wanted to, in a good way. You're going to be learning so much, and you're going to be exposed to stuff that you wouldn't normally be exposed to. So take it all in. Yeah, have an open mind, be flexible, and just be ready to have a great time.
And you mentioned, Valerie, if students can bring music stands if they want to do any kind of after hours music practicing, but I would like to note that you can read the student handbook. There is a bit of a policy on practicing in dorms. We do have like quiet hours, and that's something that's going to be, worked out between you and your roommate and all that, like what the rules are in terms of practicing in your living area. So be prepared for that too. But, Cal Poly Pomona is a huge campus. You can find a corner and practice somewhere, definitely. I see another question in the chat. Are students
no practicing in dorms is the consent.
Yeah.
Is that the policy?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I put a link to the student handbook in the chat for everybody to take a look at, knowing that we're going to be at a new campus. But generally, so some things might change, but Valerie's correct. There's no practicing in the dorms.
Thanks so much, Stacy.
If you're a
Yeah, we
guitar,
had student handbook.
bring a
Sorry, go
guitar.
ahead, Valerie.
No, I'm sorry. I just like my mind went back to the things to bring. If you're a guitarist or a bassist, you can bring an amp and cables, stuff like that for your instrument. If you do not have the means to bring a ginormous bass amp, that's fine too. I believe we'll have access to amps there too, but you might have a special amp with some settings and sounds that you love, or pedals or something. Please bring what you love, what you need. If you don't need anything, we have it.
Great.
Go on.
You mentioned, Valerie, in the beginning about like music theory placement. You don't want to call it testing, but it's, sort of just an indication of where people are at. But are there going to be any other tests that students have to take while they're at CSSSA?
Not that I know of,
Great.
unless in your theory classes, your teacher might want to give you some kind of thing. In my theory class, on the last day, we always do a game, like a ear training battle between half the class versus the other half of class, but that's not a test, that's a game. Yeah. I don't think there's not much testing at CSSSA.
Great.
Performances, yes.
That's right. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the performances in the last week looks like at CSSSA for students?
Sure. So the first 3 weeks of CSSSA are you'll have your full class schedule and ensembles and everything. And then the last week, week 4 of the program, is really dedicated to the students performing. So you're going to have multiple performances that you're going to be participating in and attending. There's kind of the culmination of your composition class will be a composition recital where you're going to be teaming up a piece of music together and present those. There's going to be an African drumming concert, gamelan concert, ensemble concerts. And so if you're a soloist, there's an opportunity to perform a solo, and the vocal ensemble will have concerts also. So all these are going to be scattered throughout that final week of CSSSA. It's going to be a busy week, but really that last week 4 is dedicated to supporting you guys in your performance endeavors. So yeah.
Great. I see one last question in the chat here. We're getting towards the end of the hour, so if you have any lingering final questions, pop them in the chat. We'll do kind of a last call round. So if students are applying for music production, would they also bring a certain instrument for classes, or would they mainly be focusing on composition?
Most of our production students play an instrument. So yes, bring an instrument that you're comfortable with, because when you do your composition classes, you'll be performing on your instrument. You can also use production as your instrument, but most of our production students, in fact, all of them, played something also. So yes, please bring an instrument. And even if you're not taking, this goes back to a question earlier about taking lessons in another instrument, even if you're not taking lessons in another discipline, but you play the guitar for fun, please bring your guitar. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to play during your free time, or you can join an ensemble on an instrument that is not your emphasis also. So if you're a pianist, if you say, hey, I want to join the jazz ensemble as a guitar player, sure, bring your guitar to jazz.
Great. That's it for questions in the chat. Again, if anybody has any lingering questions, pop them in the chat. And Valerie, can you answer, are there any kind of like grades or final way students are evaluated, or is it basically just the performances?
It's basically just the performances. We do not offer grades. If you complete the program and attend all of your classes and participate in everything, if you complete CSSSA, then you will get college credit, but we don't offer grades for your work.
Great. And are there assigned ensembles like in the bridge program, or only the optional ones that you mentioned?
That's a great question, because something that I've been wanting to carry over from our bridge program to our main program is Yeah, we assigned some ensembles, some little student bands, little groups, and I'd like to try to do that with the main program. The issue is it's so much bigger. There's so many more students, and probably not everybody. We can't accommodate everybody in something like that. But I think we're going to try to make something like that work this summer as a coached little small ensemble. Yeah.
Great. And there's a question in the chat here asking if it's possible to get your contact information, and that I can answer. You can email comments@cesa.ca.gov, and we will filter any questions or special requests or anything to Valerie. So the email, I'll put it in the chat once again here, comments@cesa.ca.gov. And I see that Stacy also threw it in the chat. Thank you so much, Stacy. 5:57. Any more questions? Anything else for Valerie? Oh, we got one more. What kind of audio recording would you want students to submit on the application, as in a certain type of file?
I don't know because when I've looked at the applications in the past, I think you'll know if there's an issue. Like all I see is I don't know what type of file they. If they're usually they're video files, but if
Yeah,
you
Stacy, maybe you can weigh in too.
Yeah, usually they're MP4s. Ellie, if you could also weigh in, I know that in the system there's Handbrake, because sometimes videos can get long. So Handbrake will help you. But we've had them where they've submitted through their iPhone, all kinds of different audio files, video files.
okay,
Great.
I think you'll probably know if it works. If it works, then you're fine. And if there's some issue on our end, then we'll contact you and say, hey, for some reason this is not working. Can we resubmit?
Well,
Wonderful.
they won't be able to fully submit. It'll flag it if, it'll throw an error code if there's a problem with your video or audio file. So then again, comments@cesa.ca.gov.
Great. And then one more lingering question. If somebody has a finger injury while trying to record the application, can they mention that?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, finger injury. Oh, that's the worst. I've had it before too. I'm a pianist, by the way. Um, yeah, just you can mention that as a hopefully you won't have a finger injury. If your finger is injured now, you still have a month. Hopefully you can heal in the next few weeks here. But yeah, you can mention that as I'm not able to use my fifth finger because of this or that. And we can see beyond. But yeah, thank you for that.
Great. So Ellie and Stacy are putting in the chat some video file types that are allowable: AIV, M4, M4V, MOV, MP4. The list goes on. So check out the chat. Last question. Is there a grade? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stacy.
I was just going to say, great minds think alike. Ellie and I both went to the app and downloaded what it says.
Amazing. Great. Okay, last question here, Valerie. Is there a high school grade preference in the program?
No, I mean, no. You can apply as young as going into your freshman year in high school, and as late as you can have graduated high school. You, so students entering grades 9 through going into college is okay too. I kind of say that there's no preference. We're looking at you as a person, as a musician, as all those things that we talked about. I think kind of the sweet spot to attend CSSSA is, you know, middle high school, sophomore, junior year, senior year, like students who are who are planning to apply for colleges, thinking about their future, that's kind of, I feel like even though that we don't have a preference, it's not going to affect ability to make it into the program. I think that's just the sweet spot for CSSSA is grade 10, 11, going into 12.
Yeah, I would echo that statement. Usually we see those grade levels. Not to say that we don't see the younger grades as well, but like I said, it's a residential program. There is some homesickness that maybe some of the younger kids are like, I don't know if I'm ready to confront that yet. Whereas the older kids are like, yeah, get me away from the parents. But yeah, we there throughout the CSA community, all walks of the high school life. So you're going to be not just in the music program, but in the community as a whole with all different grade levels, all different people from all over California and even beyond. So it's a really supportive, really friendly community. You'll make a lot of friends. It'll be a wonderful time. And we give you a lot of support. We have counselors on staff too that if you struggle with some homesickness or some anxiety, you can talk to somebody as well. Thank you so much, Valerie, so much for answering all of these wonderful questions. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Stacy. I hope everybody applies, submit those applications at least 48 hours before that deadline. And we look forward to seeing you this summer. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.